Fans of this channel know I'm one of the biggest iPad users and fans out there. Just a couple months ago, I made a response video to someone who said the iPad was dying as a product. It was a pretty compelling response, if you ask me. But something's changed. I do think we might actually be at the beginning of the end of the iPad as we know it, although I think the iPad experience has a long life ahead of it. Let me explain. When you think about it, what is an iPad? It's basically a screen that you can interact with in ways that you can't on a Mac or an iPhone. But now that spatial computing has arrived, it's easy to see how all screens, from our phones to our TVs, can and probably will end up being replaced. Not for everyone and not immediately, but eventually. What makes an iPad special is that you can pinch and zoom and swipe and interact with all the on-screen digital elements that you see right in front of your face, and optionally, you can use an Apple Pencil. It's a really great experience, but iPads are limited, number one, by their screen size, and number two, by the fact that you can only view one iPad screen in front of you at a given time. Apple's new Vision Pro, on the other hand, gives you unlimited screens to look at, and they can be as big or as small as you want, arranged however you'd like. Now, let's not put the cart before the horse. Obviously, Apple Vision Pro in its first iteration here is not for everyone for obvious reasons. However, maybe version 3 or so, or a more refined glasses version, will be. What if, whenever that version arrives, it has a similar price tag to an iPad Pro? Which version are you gonna go with? Are you gonna go with the one that feels more limited, or are you gonna go with the one that seems to be far more adaptable? Now here someone's gonna say, well Chris, what about the Apple Pencil? I like using the Apple Pencil, and drawing or writing in the air, that's not gonna work for my use cases. I think the answer is probably gonna be that any hard surface, whether a counter or a table or a desk in particular, ends up becoming your writing surface, your sketching surface. That seems like a pretty obvious and straightforward way to proceed. You'd still get all the tactical physical goodness of writing with the stylus, but without the screen size restraint. Well, if a future version of the Apple Vision Pro, maybe the glasses version, and maybe someday the contacts version, does all of that and more, then it seems like the iPad experience will have successfully merged into the spatial realm. And in that case, then the spirit of the iPad would continue to live on, even if the physical constraints fall away. Now, granted, I personally would miss something like my paper-like screen protector in that scenario. Currently, I find that I don't want to use my iPad Pro without it, especially the paper-like Pro bundle, which has the screen protector, pencil grips, and a super ingenious, satisfying cleaning kit, which is why I'm always happy to be recommending them. Now, before we really get into the meat of this video, the future of the iPad experience, let me just take a second and say, if you're looking for a way to, number one, support the channel, and number two, improve your life, check out the productivity course. It's on sale, the best sale we've ever had right now. It's linked up down below. Check it out. All right, iPad experience. Experience is really the key word here. What is it about an iPad that makes the iPad experience so special? Is it the hardware? Is it the processor or the other specs? Is it the apps? Is it the Apple Pencil? What is it? Now remember I said this earlier. What makes an iPad special is that you can pinch and zoom and swipe and interact with all the on-screen digital elements that you see right in front of your face, and optionally, you can use an Apple Pencil. Now, that really leaves us with the future of the Apple Pencil to sit here and ponder and discuss. And I think the Apple Pencil is likely to get some AI superpowers added to it, so that in the future, if you want to generate, let's say, a sketch of a dog, you can combine your human creativity with the best of what AI is going to suddenly allow. When you draw using a real pencil on a piece of paper, it's just that pencil-led stroke. When you draw using a digital line, using the Apple Pencil on your iPad right now, you can do all kinds of things. You can change the color, you can change the sort of instrument that it is. It can be a paintbrush. When AI gets added to the mix, as it's inevitably going to, a line isn't just a line. And it's not just a digital line, it's an idea, it's a starting place, it's a suggestion. We already see similar technology in apps like Kriya, in apps like Runway ML, in apps like Blockade. And some people are really excited about accelerating towards that future. Other people are like, no, hold on, I like things the way that they are. I'm not sure that I want to do that. And the good thing is there's gonna be choice, there's gonna be options. You can adopt or not. Also, I recently made a fascinating video discussing kind of the philosophy of this future that we're heading towards with AR and VR and spatial computing and some of the things that people don't really think about. So I'm gonna link that up, check it out if you wanna go deeper on a philosophical level. But for the people who are looking at the Vision Pro saying that's not for me, I just want you to keep in mind that when the iPhone originally came out, a lot of people said, I don't get it as a concept. That's not for me. But by the time the third version of the iPhone came out, the iPhone 3, it changed everything. I'd say it's somewhat too fairly likely that the Apple Vision Pro is gonna follow some sort of similar track. But what does this all mean? If the things that I'm describing and predicting in this video end up coming to fruition, then is the iPad based on hardware that we know and love today still gonna be around in something like 10 years? I think that's an interesting open question. And it probably has a lot to do with the price point of the Vision Pro in its future iterations. Personally, let me just say I'm really excited to see what the future hardware-based iPads end up doing and looking like, especially the next iPad Pro, which could be coming out here as early as March, it sounds like. And the reason is, it's a go-to tool in my toolkit that lets me do things that I still can't do elsewhere. I rely on it day in and day out. Just last night, I was using the Apple Pencil in Final Cut Pro on my iPad Pro to create some really great, slick-looking animated text highlight effects, which is something I couldn't do fairly recently. And everyone was complaining, where's the Pro apps? Where are things like Final Cut Pro, Logic, DaVinci? All of that stuff started to arrive very recently. I'm now able to hook up the iPad Pro to the studio display and have more control over how my windows are arranged there as well. So that external screen support, Pro apps, a better Files app, these are all improvements that we've seen come to the iPad pretty consistently with iPadOS 15, 16, 17. So I'm really excited about 18, but there's just less and less for people to complain about. All the traditional complaints, let's say, have been slowly but surely disappearing. So I just wanna say, all the points that I made in my No, the iPad Isn't Dying video recently, which I'll try to link up down below too so you can revisit that, still stand. Apple clearly has not abandoned the iPad and clearly isn't intending to. We hear all the rumors that I covered in a recent video about an OLED screen and some other hardware upgrades coming. The iPad is the iPad and it's going to remain the iPad as you've known it for a while yet, and it's gonna be awesome. So to summarize, and I think this is a pretty big thought here, all physical screens in our homes and offices that we rely on for entertainment and for work are probably on their way out starting here in 2024. Now, the Apple Vision Pro is the first domino in that sequence in my mind, because while there have been other VR and AR experiences available to people, when Apple enters the market, they have the unique ability to mainstream a concept or technology. So it's not just the iPad experience that's sitting on the precipice of a large evolutionary leap, it's also the iPhone, it's also the Mac, it's every other screen in your life. I'm actually dying to know what everyone thinks about the way that I presented things in this video, so drop a pencil emoji down in the comments so I know that you made it to the end of the video, and then give me your thoughts, in particular on the future iPad experience and the future Apple Pencil experience as you would like it to happen, what you're hoping for or worried about in terms of the future of this device if you're a heavy user of it. Don't forget to check out the course, the newsletter, all of that stuff's linked up down below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later.